Hello, welcome to a brand new special Unsourced Wall unboxing. Today we're taking a look at the finally released Boss Fight Studios Hero H.A.C.K.S Flash Gordon line Prince Barin from the 1980s movie. This is, I believe, the fourth release of the entire Flash Gordon subline. There was the original Flash Gordon in the Flash t-shirt from the 1980s film, and then the two Alex Raymond inspired Flash and Emperor Ming figures. Boss Fight Studios has been saying that they will go kind of back and forth between their license for the Alex Raymond inspired figures and then the 80s film one. Now, there are a couple things I like about the 80s film, a couple designs, a couple character and actor choices. While my heart remains with the Alex Raymond figures, I love the Alex Raymond comics and strips. That's my preferred definitive Flash Gordon. There are a couple of characters I wanted to get directly from the 80s film, and Prince Barin was one of them. I think that out of most of the 80s film, Prince Barin, as portrayed by Timothy Dalton, was honestly impeccably adapted. Even though there was a lot more kind of added on, a lot more fantastical and kind of gaudy attributes to Arborea, Prince Barin's kingdom, as it were, Prince Barin as a whole was just so wonderfully captured. Timothy Dalton had that very kind of cold, menacing, threatening, and antagonistic vibe, while also, having a lot of charm. And he brought a lot to the role that I think would have been lost without that particular actor. So I had to make a point to get it, and I'm glad it's finally here. And let's get this cracked open. Now, as with most Boss Fight Studios figures, they have collector-friendly packaging, which means that they come with little clip tabs on the back, so you can take out the card back without having to rip open any plastic clamshells. And then you get a bit of a bio of Prince Barin, saying that he is one of the princes of Mongo, in love with Ming's daughter, Princess Aura, and, being a bit more aristocratic, stoic, and quick to temper. And yeah, that pretty much covers that. Now, I do like the art here, which I believe is by Erica Henderson, who did the art for the, I believe, the Comic-Con exclusive, but now kind of widely available, Flash Gordon lunchbox release of the original Flash Gordon Hero H.A.C.K.S figure with the Flash t-shirt. And, pretty great job. I think the inking and the coloring really do bring this to life a lot. It's not a great likeness. I'm not quite sure whether or not they had the likeness rights to Timothy Dalton in particular, even though they might have had like the character rights to this character as portrayed in the movie. Those things can be a little bit lopsided in terms of like what they can get away with for face sculpts. But I think that Erica Henderson did an amazing job. And this is something that I'm definitely going to try and keep safe because, you know what? It's just a wonderful piece of art, and I love it. I love the vibrancy. I love the kind of flesh tones and the wild colors. You can see like the iconic kind of crazy hazy sky that the 80s film is very well known for. The skies of Mongo in the 80s film are like a kaleidoscope lava lamp, and that does a really good job of capturing that. Anyway, let's get the figure himself out of the package. Comes in two different little trays, one for the body itself, sword, and then the interchangeable hands. And then the other tray has the Hero H.A.C.K.S stand, the movie's iconic Arborean whip, and then an Arborean crossbow. So let's get this all out. Now, I want to see, in particular, if you remember my last review of the Flash and Emperor Ming figures, that the peg holes on these Hero H.A.C.K.S figures can be very tight and very small. As I can see right now, this one has hexagon-shaped ones. Meanwhile, the standard Hero H.A.C.K.S stand are, just simple round peg holes. And so it became very frightening to kind of try and get these to be placed on there because it kind of felt like you were stripping away the plastic on the foot. And it made it feel, while secure, like you might destroy the ankle in a way. And I feel like, it's pretty much the same case with this. I'm not quite sure if this is a problem for others outside of this particular subline for Flash Gordon, if this is like a company-wide thing for all Hero H.A.C.K.S. It just feels secure, but also feels very scary, especially for a figure at this scale, because of something of this stature feels particularly fragile. Anyway, here we go. We have him standing on the stand, and I want to go over a couple of the accessories. First of which is this impressive whip. Now this is entirely a vinyl kind of plastic attachment accessory. But the thing is, it's got this quasi matte texturing on the whip itself that makes it feel like nylon, like a piece of fabric or like twine or tether. But it's not. It's entirely plastic. It just has that incredible kind of texturing that makes it feel all the more lifelike, realistic at least, you know? There we go. Fits snugly in his grip, and that is fantastic. Timothy Dalton and the character in the 80s film in particular looks pretty astounding with the whip, which I don't think he ever uses in the original Sunday strips by Alex Raymond, but it is quite awe-inspiring in the film, and I'm glad he has it as a figure. But because it's not posable, it's just one plastic strand, it does take a lot of space, so we're going to put it aside for now. Next up, we have the crossbow kind of machine gun thing, because it has like a trigger and everything. And let's put it in the other arm. I can't quite remember if this was in the film or not, and I definitely can't remember what arm it would have been on in the film, so I'm going to just put on the opposite arm and see how that goes. And you know, it's nice. Doesn't quite fit that great, honestly. Oh wait, no. I believe he has a trigger hand, so this goes on the other arm. Okay, so on the Flash and Ming, the interchangeable hands came out so toughly. Like the plastic and the paint was kind of like wedged in there a bit. But I'm guessing because these are two different paint apps and two different kinds of plastic, the pink and the green, there was less of an issue with that. Oh wait, I think I know what I'm supposed to do. I think I know what I'm supposed to do, and I got the wrong hand off to begin with. Oh, you know, he has one palm hand. So here's what I'm supposed to do with this, and this is really fun. You have a trigger hand for the left arm, right? But because this has like this groove, and it's a very, very smooth groove, what I think is meant to happen is I'm supposed to take off the cuff so that it kind of wraps around the forearm a lot more snugly, rather than getting kind of this in the way, which is a more rigid, more rectangular piece, which I tried to put on this arm, but it just wasn't happening because this was bulking out and it was popping it off. But I think this is one of those things where I'm going to have to put it in first and then sort of finagle it. And you can see this is kind of like an open kind of trigger hand. And hopefully it doesn't look weird, because without that cuff, I think it runs the risk of looking a little weird. And, you know, looks fine. You can definitely notice the absence of the cuff, but I don't really see this looking any better without it. But you know what? I'm going to try again on the other hand. Okay, so I have it on. The trigger finger has gone in completely to the other end, which is fantastic. But yeah, if I wanted to get this like to fit snugly, I would need to get rid of that cuff piece. But as we can see, if we just put on just a regular kind of hand, if I get rid of the cuff piece, it just looks super awkward. It honestly does. So yeah, it's a fun accessory. I just kind of wish it didn't look insanely terrible. But hey, maybe I just don't have it in the right configuration, because the cuff piece is movable because it's a separate piece. Maybe something like that. I think that's the best I'm gonna have to make it. Kind of angled out, you can't really notice that it looks kind of awkward, but yeah, it is. It really is. So we're gonna take it out for now. But it's a fantastic little accessory. It looks pretty awesome. And I'm gonna put the cuff back on this thing because it's horrifying. Extremely horrifying. Let's put his fist back in. There we go. This is way easier than Ming and Flash so far. And the last accessory is the sword. Now, I don't remember the sword of the 80s film, unfortunately. I love the original Alex Raymond comics, but I've only ever seen the 80s movie like 3 times. So he has a little sheath for it, and it is a very bulky sheath, and with the sword in it, he can honestly just slightly move. It is definitely in the way. And what makes that a little bit worse is that his shoulder posability is incredibly tight and very limited to him going side to side because he has these kind of shoulder pads in the way. That means that he can't go outward that much. So he doesn't have that much clearance. He can go all the way up, and then sort of swivel out. That'll get him a bit out of the way from the sword, but no. It is quite a lot. Let's see how his grip is for the sword, because the grip was pretty good for the whip, and for the sword, yeah, about the same. It's really good, really fun. The scale is fantastic. What I don't like about the Alex Raymond, Emperor, Ming, and Flash figures was that the swords were very bulky. They seemed really standard looking swords. They didn't really capture personality of the comics or the sword styles in the comic. Meanwhile, this, I think, captures that 80s gaudiness and flashiness superbly well. And I might just say that despite my reservations about the actual likeness that Erica Henderson kind of has for the back card art, the actual face sculpting of the figure is Dalton to a T. Again, it's just enough where you kind of wonder if they even had the likeness rights, because it's just off enough, but it's also, it's like 4-inch figure, so you're not going to expect the most impressive, most realistic kind of face sculpt, okay? You're not going to put the Hasbro real 3D face printing tech on this. It definitely looks like Dalton, and the overall design, look, and outfit of the figure it just screams the 80s movie. And even though it's not my favorite thing, Dalton as Prince Barin definitely was, and I couldn't be happier to have this in my collection. I think the only other accessory I didn't try on was this open palm right hand, but I don't see it mattering at all, because this, you just want to have him dual wielding. It's cool. I think that he definitely is made for dual wielding to show just how dashing he is. Because he's got the whip, he's got the sword, he is a man of action, and it is just incredible. I'm so glad to have this figure. The posability and the stability of the figure, even at the scale, is truly awesome. When I first heard that they were making Boss Fight Studios Hero H.A.C.K.S figures, I was a bit cautious, a bit worried, because I'm not that big into 4-inch scale. I'm just always sort of wondering about what they could even do with it. But I have to say, of the Flash Gordon line that I've been collecting from Boss Fight, has really kind of turned me around. It's shown me that there's a lot of versatility in the scale. There's a lot of potential and a lot of real skill at doing figures in the scale that can be manageable, but also really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this, even though it's so tiny, but it has so much personality, and I love it. And I can't wait to pose this alongside the Alex Raymond, Flash, and Ming I got. Now the back card, if you go back to it, shows the standard Flash Gordon design with the sort of golden kind of high-lie sword. I'm not going to get that. Outside of Dalton's Barin, the only other ones I would probably get would be Clytus or even Voltan. Brian Blessed. Show some respect for that guy for that movie for just doing the most. So yeah, that's probably about it. This is fantastic. It's wonderful. If anything, I might get the 80s Flash lunchbox set. It's probably a better design for Flash in the film. I don't know what he's got with this tank top going on, but I think if I want to have a Flash for this Prince Barin, it'll be that one. Just their iconic looks from that film. Let me know what you think. Are you collecting Hero H.A.C.K.S, or are you collecting the Hero H.A.C.K.S Flash Gordon series? If so, which ones have you gotten? If you aren't, which ones are you hoping to get? And let me know what you think below. Do you think this one looks awesome? Are you planning on getting this one? What do you think about the 80s Flash movie? And also, what are you going to do with this crossbow if you get this figure? Because once again, he needs the cuffs. He has green hands without the cuffs, If he had a interchangeable hand that was just a flesh hand, then I wouldn't mind at all. But all he has are these interchangeable gloved hands. And yeah, that's not happening with this. Is there a place to sort of Storets, he has a peggle on his back. So I was kind of hoping, maybe a little bit wondering, if there's a way to sort of get this on in there. It's a circle peg, but I just kind of like, yeah, you know, twist it out like that. And there, now I got it. He's just got it slightly wedged in there, and he is fully decked and loaded, and he looks awesome doing it. So, you know what? I'm just ecstatic about this figure. I am. Love Dalton, love Prince Barin, and I love Flash Gordon. I can't wait to get more of these. So anyway, leave me your thoughts below on the figure, on Flash Gordon, on the movie, on the comics, and on Prince Barin. And let me know what your general thoughts are. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and see you again next time.